Hello, Watem here, welcome back to some more Umineko When Seagulls Cry. Let's continue. Now time for Witch's Tea Party. Let's see where this goes. This could go in any direction whatsoever. I have zero expectations about what's about to happen. Welcome to the party of the unhuman.
ラムダ、どこ?
Just having to say that felt like admitting defeat, and I didn't like it. Why is it that she's always so obnoxious and clingy when I don't need her, and then won't answer when I call her name? Where am I? Annoyed by the completely predictable ending, I'd left the cathedral. I'd planned on finding some terrace with a cool night's breeze to kill time until the end of that farcical reception.
確かに、人の顔を見たくなかったから、人気のない方へばかり進んだけど、さすがに、これはいないにも程があるわ。
I, the great burnt Castell, am lost. A miracle like that certainly wouldn't happen. Yes, miracles don't exist in this world. To create a miracle, you need an amount of time that can never be reached. A period that is no different from infinity. This sounds like an application of a halting problem. So, when something that appears to be a miracle happens in a shorter span of time than that, it is not a miracle, but the product of someone's design. In other words, the reason I'm walking down this corridor is because someone's design has forced me here.
誰? こんな手の込んだ真似で私を呼ぶのは、よっぽどの恥ずかしがり屋みたいね。こんな人気のないところに呼び出すんだから。
Then, from the other end of the dark corridor, I heard a sound. Patter, 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 patter. When the song's called Eternal Chains. It sounded as though some small animal, like a dog or a cat, was walking at a quick pace. No miracle could cause a dog or a cat to be in a place like this. Such a miracle would not be allowed. Since it isn't a miracle, that means I'm being guided in that direction. Very well. This might be some new theme to keep me entertained. If this is some new joke of Landis, I'll cover her whole body with honey using my tongue. So what? And then I'll stick parasol chocolates into her eyes and tell her to never do it again. The direction the noise had come from was not only dim, but shrouded in complete darkness. However, I could sense something in that darkness. Oh. There were two emerald green glints, probably cat eyes. The eyes of a black cat that peered through darkness.
あなたが呼んだの? それとも、あなたが使い?
When I looked at my feet, I saw red cat footprints leading towards those cat eyes. The marks were unsettling, as though the cat had run through a pool of blood. Whose blood? My eyes adjusted to the darkness, then even with lack of light, I was vaguely able to make out these red footprints. They weren't actually glowing or anything, but they served perfectly well as a signpost leading me onwards. Patter, 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 patter. As though it was telling me to follow, the cat turned around and dashed off into the darkness. What is it? Something feels very strange. It's a feeling I haven't felt since I began calling myself the cruelest witch in the world. Is Bianca still perhaps going to fall back into a prison of sorts? I can't quite remember what this feeling is. Still, for one as tired of boredom as me, it's surely more fun this way. I get the feeling it won't be. I follow the bloody footprints of the cat, which would sometimes stop and look back at me, and walked on and on through the dark corridor. Forward, turn, head down what appeared to be stairs from time to time. And then, but I couldn't really tell because of the darkness, it went in through the crack of a door.
ここ
The question I have is if there's someone already locked there, or if it will just be Bianca still. I pushed the door open slowly. It was dark on the inside, just like the corridor. However, the air and the slight change in the echoes made by the footsteps told me that this was a room, not a corridor. The sounds of the cat's footsteps were gone. However, the bloody footprints remained. On the other side of some sort of wooden screen, under what looked like a small spotlight, there was that same black cat, gobbling down some blood-stained pet food. I see. So, this is its reward for bringing me here.
猫、お食事中悪いけれど、そろそろあんたの主人を呼んでちょうだい。それともまさか、あんたが私を呼んだ本人ってわけじゃないわよね。
Talking to it didn't cause it to turn around. Well, I guess it is an animal eating its food. If I kick it away, it will probably run off to its owner. When I did kick the cat, it sailed away like a stuffed animal, hit the wall, and fell to the ground. Then it vanished, melting into the darkness. What's with this cat? Is it just an illusion? When I looked at its food plate, it was piled up with what appeared to be blood-drenched raw meat. It was as though someone had torn apart living flesh on the spot and piled it up over there, on there.
なんなのこの趣味の悪い艦隊は。ケルトはひどいことをする。
Feathery? The instant I heard that voice, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Then, the surrounding area finally brightened. However, Bianca still had already guessed where this was before it grew bright.
"そなたであろうが、その猫は肉を食らい選ぶ道もあることを学んだ猫よ。久しぶりであるな。あんたが教えなきゃ気づかずに済んだ道よ。肉の味を教えた化け物。生き返ったのね。フェザリーヌ・アウアウローラ。
Ow, ow.
アウグストゥス・アウローラであると、そなたには何度教えても覚えぬな。よい。それもまた懐かしい。噂は聞き及んでいるぞ。奇跡の魔女ベルンカステルを名乗り、あまり褒められぬかけら遊びをして回っているとな。あんたの真似をしてるだけよ。到底お呼びやしないけれど。 もし私の噂がよからぬものならば、あんたはそれに100をかけるべきだわ。
Benka sat unreservedly in an antique chair, so she was already familiar with the place.
何を怯えているか。私はこれまでで最も長く過ごした巫女との再会を喜んでいるだけであろうが、使いの猫がそんなにも気に入らなかったか。
Benka's manner seemed completely relaxed. However, Featherine admonished her, telling her not to be afraid. And, judging by the expression that had risen to Bern's face, Featherine had been right on the mark.
私に対する当てつけにも程があるわ。血の足跡を残しながら歩き、血まみれの肉を頬張る猫なんてね。
怯えるな。よく見よ。血まみれの肉を頬張る猫などどこにいる？そなたを迎えに行った褒美にビスケットの皿を与えただけではないか。
That doesn't look like biscuits to me. Also not something you should really be feeding a cat. It was as though the seat covering the plate at her feet was blown away, even though there was no wind. There lay an adorable and perfectly normal cat dish, with a pile of small biscuits on top of it. Bencassel didn't even hide her displeased grimace. Featherine shrugged and muttered, "You haven't changed, child of man," as she rocked her rocking chair.
相変わらず不愉快なやつだわ。でもね、今は愉快よ。
You don't seem all that happy.
あんたの真似をしてるとね、本当に退屈しないわ。
なじれ、好きに。かつて別れに際し、そなたに許した置き土産だ。
口の悪い巫女は退屈しないから好き。なんだっけ？ちっ、バカバカしい。あんたを喜ばせるくらいなら口をつぐむわ。それで何の用？
Oh, shut up. Immediately continue.
ベアトリーチェのゲームがバトラの勝利によって終わったそうだな。感激していた。なかなか面白かった。
私が無様な役でそれは面白かったでしょうよ。
とんでもない。なかなか光栄であった。ベアトもそなたに感謝しているだろう。
それでベアとのゲームのかけらを朗読しろって言うならお断りよ。
She already found someone else to do that for her.
私はもうあんたの巫女じゃない。
私はベアとのゲームをすべて感激してきた。ラムダデルタのゲームもバトラのゲームも興味深く感激させてもらった。一応すべての謎に私なりの答えを用意できたつもりでいる。
Ah, so is 6 going to be, 7 rather going to be Featherine's game?
犯人、動機、個別のトリック、碑文の謎は最後がギリギリわからぬが、私が実際に六軒島に行き検証すればわかる程度のレベルまでの推理は持っている。
それで
無論真実は一つでない以上、私の推理も許される可能性の中の一つに過ぎぬだろう。しかしそれは可能性の範囲内であり、さまつな問題だ。
何よあんた、私とベアとのゲームの論争がしたいの？
違う。
No.
したいのは答え合わせだ、人の子よ。
Those words of Feverine's made Bencaso straighten up. Her old master did not fail to notice that small reaction.
そなたも出演者として参照のように物語を盛り上げてきた。その過程で多くの真実も知るだろう。しかしベアトが巧みに隠してきたいくつかの謎についてはそなたも知らぬのではないか。
なるほど。私にまた腹渡を食いちぎって引きずり出す役をやらせたいのね。
感激を終えればパンフレットを読み舞台裏を知るのは、そなた風に言うなら食後にたしなむ紅茶のようなものだ。それはたしなみだが欠かすことはできぬ。
生きてるうちはめでて遊んで、死んだら肉を食らってご機嫌満腹。あんたにとって猫は二度役に立つわけだわ。死ね、化け物。
答え合わせがしたい。そなたも知りたいはずだ。ベアとの亡骸を葬ると思い、その葬儀をそなたに執り行ってほしいということだ。それならばどうか、人の子よ。
多少は私好みな頼み方になってきたわ。
And Feverine snapped her fingers. A thin spotlight appeared on the table, which was covered with clotted books. There lay a folded version of the game board for Beato's game. The Witch of Theatre Going spun her finger in a circle, and the game board opened up by itself, showing the black and white pieces lined up inside it.
ゲーム版もコマもすべて揃っている。過去のゲームの寄付もすべて揃っている。
With a rustling sound, the book flipped through all its pages of its own accord, front to back, shut itself, and flew to the side of the game board where it waited. Inside it, all of the movements of the pieces during previous games were recorded.
なるほど。足りないのはプレイヤーと解説者だけってわけ。
紅茶も足りぬな。梅干しも足りぬか。もちろん用意しよ
う。いいわ。それにからし大福もつけてくれたら手を打つわ。
Just between the two of them?
交渉は成立だ。
条件が一つ。
ほう、それは何か。
朗読者は私よ。私、愛がないからいろいろとおかしな解釈をしてしまうかもしれない。でもどう読むか、どう抑揚をつけるかは朗読者の自由よ。
私は答え合わせがしたいだけだ。物語になど興味はない。そなたがどんな物語を紡ごうと全く興味がない。なるほど。ようやくそなたが何をしたいのか分かった。
飲むでしょ。条件。
いいだろう。私は答えが知りたい。そなたは鬱憤が晴らしたい。交渉は成立だ。
And Featherine snapped her fingers once more. A large chair appeared, as though beckoning Bencastel to sit there. It was a throne, horribly mismatched with the furnishings of this room. Oh. Wait, I've seen this before. This is...
認めようぞ。座るがよい。ゲームマスターはそなただ。
いいのね。本当にいいのね。
そなたの鬱憤が晴れるような好きな物語を紡げばいい。
Is that going to be the next game, perhaps?
私には興味ないことだ。 ただし私からも条件を一つ。私の求める答え合わせをすべてせよ。隠し事も包み隠しもごまかしも一切なしだ。
任せなさい。腹渡引き裂いて中身をすべて引きずり出すのは私の最も得意とするところ。あんたの仕込みだもの。
紅茶を入れよう。魔法でなく私自らの手でな。主が巫女に茶を入れて信ぜようぞ。
かつてベアトは私に紅茶を飲むなら魔女とに限ると言ったわ。
我らにはどうやら違うようだな。
At some point, that dish was filled with biscuits, had once again been covered with a mountain of torn apart meat and spattered bread. Not just... yeah.
紅茶を飲むなら
化け物同士に限るわ。
Shall see where this goes next then, I guess. Also be interesting to see, I'm not sure if you'll get it, but it would be interesting to see what happens after what's her name? Little sister. Anyway, what happens after what we previously had seen? What the whole details behind Akasaka? Not Akasaka. What's his name? One talking with Okanogi earlier.
では駒の準備を始めるわ。投資番号で言うと第7のゲーム。
そうなる。縁起のいい数字だ。
それはベアトにとってではないわね。
When you so you picked up the black piece? It was the piece that represented Beatrice. It was sometimes a king, sometimes a queen, and could become a knight. However, that was only if it got promoted. Until then it was only a trash piece, like a pawn. Here comes the placing of the pieces. At this point, the witch's game has already begun. Then Cassell took Beatrice's piece and raised it high.
初手、配置、D8、ベアトリーチ。
The seagulls cried, none were left alive. Seeing the lyrics talk about red and blue text made me think, or made me wonder about the anime. I've heard it wasn't good, but I do wonder how they handled the red and blue text. Okay, so we'll have the characters and tips for the episode. Okay, and can't resurrect him. Built from a pleasure boat and currently missing due to a Rockenjima explosion accident which occurred shortly after. Explosion accident? Her own accident was lost to history. Her family argues that she might have drifted to Rockenjima and gotten involved in the accident, but no evidence indicating her presence on the island has been found at the scene. Forgers who learn of her fall from the boat often theorize that she drifted onto Rockenjima and add her into the witch's illusion. Okay, interesting. I can't execute him. Ah, okay. Yes. So, 2 executions. Can't execute Butler again. No Rudolph. No George. I'm guessing the other people who didn't die can't be executed. Okay. And I'm going to assume nothing really new in the tips. So dueling pistols. Pretty sure I read through these already. Maybe? Oh, maybe not. A set of demonic dueling pistols prepared by Zeppo and Fufu. Number of shots loaded depends on the format of the duel. In most cases, each gun holds just a single round. The emotions of a duelist are loaded into them, and if a bullet grazes any part of the body, the concept of a target is denied without exception. In the past, duels were performed with a classic style with swords, but this took a great deal of time before an outcome was reached, which displeased a certain impatient theatre-going witches. Not a. For this reason, a dueling weapon that would always kill with a single shot was asked for and created. Of course, these weapons are not particularly popular among theatre-going witches who are fans of drama. Wara is the pronoun that Beatrice uses throughout episodes 1 to 4 to refer to herself. Historically, it was a word used to refer to handmaids, chambermaids, and children, including errand boys and girls. The pronoun Warawa was derived from these meanings and was therefore a humble one, used mostly by women. However, in the context of modern fiction, the use of Warawa is stereotypically associated with noblewomen from olden times, and the anachronisms of this choice of pronoun can have the secondary effect of imparting an imperious character speech. In a sense, it is a perfect fit for Beatrice, and an important part of the role language that makes up her character. Miko is often translated as Shrine Maiden, traditionally dressed in white and red. Miko act as assistants at Shinto shrines. In addition to helping out with the day-to-day and running of a shrine, including cleaning the premises and selling charms and fortunes, Miko also performs ceremonial dances and assists priests in Shinto rituals and performances. And with that, we're left on episode 7, Requiem of the Golden Witch. Morning. Today is the day of the funeral for the Golden Witch into a game. The days of the game have now ended, and fond memories are all that remain. Here, the cold, hard truth will be revealed, and the game will meet its death. There is a bit of difficulty. On that note, I hope you've all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments, and until next time when I continue this, see ya.